Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it, presented by Rogue Matter. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture with the rogues who create it every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts. You can download this podcast immediately following the live stream on all major podcasting apps. Go to roguewavepodcast.com. That's wave without an E. To subscribe on Apple Podcasts, but we're also available on Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeart, anywhere you can download podcasts, you can find us. Tonight, an ode to Sean Connery, Suicide Squad, the Ayer cut. Release the Ayer cut is back, and we dive into that Mandalorian Chapter 9 with a good patented reaction/non-review, and we ask the more important election question: who is the better bounty hunter? Is it Boba Fett or Mandalorian? And we will answer that tonight. The votes will be tallied, and it's just me and Hassan really voting. So that's pretty much it. I am your host, Michael Dolce, joined as always by my co-host extraordinaire, the Lord of the live stream himself, Mr. Son Godwin. How you doing, sir? First of all, wait. Before you answer that question, we are an election diversion. So we will no spoilers either way. Election doesn't exist in this space. How's that? Now, how do you feel?
Pretty much the same as what I was going to say anyway. But I guess
we are a diversion from the anxiety. Now, if you are watching us, you in the larger sense, you notice a little something different. If you're listening to us, you don't notice anything different because it's just our voices. I got so jealous of you, Hassan, wearing glasses every week that I decided to put my glasses
on. You look dashing also.
I hate wearing glasses.
Very scholarly.
You've no idea how much this is actually throwing me off right now, even wearing glasses.
Oh, come on, toughen up.
Oh, I am. I'm gonna soldier through, but I'm just saying it bothers
soldier
me.
Through wearing glasses.
It
requires you
really
to
does.
soldier
I can't
on.
see as well. I am so blind. My prescription is like an 825. It's terrible. And glasses actually cut off my periphery, unless I was to wear like goggles all the way around. So
tell the good folks why you are wearing your glasses.
Oh yeah, I don't know yet because I couldn't find an eye doctor to get to. My right eye,
which would lead us down another rabbit hole we don't need to talk about.
Irritating. I do have an appointment tomorrow though. I'm very excited at 1:50. I got like a little flashing in my eye, and my right eye is like all irritated.
Your eyes shouldn't flash. That's not what you want. You don't want.
We're The good news is I woke up this morning and it was better than it was the day before. So maybe I'll wake up tomorrow morning and it'll be all better and I don't have to go to the eye doctor, but I'll still probably end up going.
Yeah, don't leave it to chance. Don't mess with your eyes.
I wanted to wear the glasses so that I would appear scholarly, so that when we do our election, which is the Boba Fett versus Mandalorian, I would look like more.
Stop using the E word.
Oh, that's right. Well, no, but this is the rogue election. How's that sound?
It's not really. I mean, what?
What's a good synonym for election then? What can we use?
It's not. It's just an opinion poll, right? But
pollsters are getting a bad name right now. So let's
my God.
Let's think of something. What do we got?
But if I had said that, you'd be like,
a ballot? No.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Move on.
Move on. All right. We do this every week. All the rage in the pop culture world. This is our Rogue Rage. And we start off with something sad. It happened last week. It was, news, obviously, so we wanted to make mention of it. James Bond star Sean Connery, dead at 90. Sir Sean Connery, the Scottish-born actor who was the first man to bring James Bond to life, has passed away. The BBC revealed this information. It was confirmed by his son. He died peacefully in his sleep after having been unwell for some time. The Broccoli estate, which is the estate that owns the James Bond franchise, we are devastated by the news of the passing. He was and shall always be remembered as the original James Bond, whose indelible entrance into cinema history began when he announced those unforgettable words, "The name's Bond, James Bond." Daniel Craig also kind of chimed in. It was with sadness that I heard of the passing of Sir Sean Connery. He'll be remembered as Bond and so much more. He defined an era and a style. Born in 1930, he had a long and illustrious career that spanned decades, including an Academy Award for his role in 1987's The Untouchables. So here's the funny thing. Not the funny thing about this. A couple thoughts. One is that when you're 90, you feel sad, but it's like you made it to 90. I mean, there's really at that point, you've lived a full life.
No.
So
Here's the thing you do every time, and you do this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That is how you feel.
Yes.
That is not how I feel.
Oh,
that is not how most feel. See, you preference things as in, well, when it's 90, you feel as though that's the standard feel. That's not. That is a Dolce feel.
Okay.
Dolce is like, well, he's 90, so yeah.
No. I feel sad, but it's not as if I feel the same level of shock or sadness that I would, like, let's say when a Kobe Bryant dies, because you feel
a binary. Stop.
It's not a binary.
It is. It's an either or. It's an incontingent of this. This is different. It's just how you feel. He's 90. Yes. When old people die, you don't feel half as bad. That's what you're saying.
You don't feel as shocked and distressed.
You don't feel.
Yes.
I don't feel. Say I don't feel as shocked and distressed. Say it.
I like you.
Say it.
I like you.
No, I don't like you.
Do I have to pick either? I have to pick either you or I. I have to pick a binary choice.
I'm saying speak for yourself and not for the populace.
Okay, in my opinion, I feel
that works.
I feel the populace feels that.
See now, and you know what? Then that sets you up now. Better.
That's my opinion.
That puts you in a better light because now people can say bullshit. You don't know how the populace feel, and that's perfect. And I'll take it.
What do you think of when you think of Sean Connery? Like, what's the first role that pops in your head?
Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
What's that from?
Highlander.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow! Look at you going left field with that.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite Sean Connery role, next to William Forrester from Finding Forrester, which is one of his later movies. I think he retired very quickly after that, so that's probably one of his, if not his last movie. I think it's one of his. I don't think it is his last movie. But I really loved him in that role. And then of course there's Malone from The Untouchables.
Yeah.
I was trying to think while we were talking exactly what is the first role I ever saw Sean Connery in.
Yeah.
So that I knew who Sean Connery was whenever someone said the word Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And I cannot think of it. It was not James Bond because my first James Bond was Roger Moore. And my first James Bond movie was my first James Bond movie was Moonraker.
Who, by the way, just on this as an aside,
which is a terrible movie.
Timothy Dalton is getting a lot more love, I've noticed, on social media for his Bond roles, even though he was, I guess, widely panned.
Yeah, I mean, the Bond is a mixed history.
Yeah,
it's a very uneven history.
He's getting a lot more love these days.
Bonds
so. Good for Timothy.
Good for Timothy Dalton. He's still in great shape. He's still doing good, compared to the other Bonds.
That's true.
So God bless, and let's keep it going for Timothy Dalton. But I don't know. I did one of my favorite roles though was a role he won the Academy Award for, which was Untouchables. But I can't remember that far back. I remember him from Darby O'Gill in The Little People.
Wow.
Which I saw at my grandparents' house.
Don't even know what that is.
Years ago.
Yeah.
It's a terrible movie. Well, I don't know if it's terrible. That's
your opinion. That's your opinion.
Old movie. Yeah, that's why I amended it. It's a movie. It's an old movie about a guy who finds a leprechaun. His name is Darby O'Gill, and he finds the little people. And one of the people in the film is an anti-bully, because there's a whole bunch of bullies in the town, and he's the guy who stands up for bullies, stands up for the oppressed, and that was Sean Connery, and he was extremely young. He was maybe 30 at most.
For me, it's and this is the funny part too, because again, when his news of his passing went on, it was floods of James Bond. For me, it's Dr. Henry Jones. Right, like that's to me like the iconic role that I remember the most, which I know is not what the masses seem to remember. At least again the imagery that was displayed, of news of his passing.
That's a great role. Age. I mean, just for some of us, we knew who he was already. Like by 1988, most of us knew who. But I mean, that's early.
Yeah, I would even go so far as to say from. was it The Rock, right? The Rock?
Yes.
Yeah. I would even go say that role. I remember him, very, very vividly. And that left a lasting impression. And finally, I would say even the failed attempt at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that was the Sean Connery.
Or the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
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 So it's a pizza argument. Obviously, there's no bad pizza, so there's no. I know you don't like that, but it's a great analogy. There's no bad roles. Or there's no bad answer to this. But those are the ones that that kind of strike for me and for you, obviously. You also have a that just speaks to him, right? Is the fact that we can sit here and name 6-7 movies between us that left a lasting impression. So, and it's not as bad because he was 90. All right, moving on. Suicide Squad. David Ayer says his cut was ripped to pieces. It's no secret David Ayer's Suicide Squad was vastly changed during production and post-production, which led to a hugely disappointing final version of the film, which wasn't well received by fans or critics. But over the last year, Ayer himself has opened up about the situation and revealed his original plans for various characters. While many films have campaigned to get Warner Brothers to release the original cut, the director took to Twitter to stress, because that's the place to go, how much footage was left on the cutting room floor. He was answering questions from fans on Twitter, and he revealed that the first 40 minutes of Suicide Squad was the hardest to cut. His original vision for the film was ripped to pieces. He pointed out the negative reception to Batman v Superman combined with Deadpool's undeniable success, which caused the studio to rethink the direction of the supervillain team-up movie. He then explained that Jeff Johns was the one who rewrote pages of the script that he had to reshoot. And it was for sure. This is from his quote on Twitter. For sure, that became a factor. The reason BVS got chewed up by the critics and the success of Deadpool, the studio leadership panicked. Then major elements of my cut were ripped out before I could mature the edit. Should we #release the Ayer cut, Hassan?
Why not?
That's gonna be my take.
Who cares? I tell you what was the I forget the analogy I said to you before we started recording. It's like it's like I drew you a picture of a blue stick figure with a red line across his neck, and I said, "This is Superman."
Yeah. And
then someone came and snatched it away before I could draw the boots. It's still a piece of crap art. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But he was going to write. He was going to. But
how much more he was going to do?
No, but there was going to be stars in the boots, and that has deep metaphorical meaning for the human condition and the suffering of human condition. So clearly, we're missing out by not having the stick figure with red.
The thing is, the analogy doesn't. It's a false equivalence. The analogy doesn't hold up because Zack Snyder never got a chance to air his movie, his vision, right? Because he got removed. Depending on who you want to listen to, he got removed from it or he quit. Due to family personal issues and family business, right? So there's a precedent for we want to see his version of the movie because the version of the movie that we got from the other director that they put on is not highly well regarded.
Yeah.
Right? It made money.
Yeah.
It was a financial, it's a moderate financial success, but it was not highly regarded. Okay. Yeah. So here comes the pandemic. Here comes a need for content. Yep. Here comes an opportunity for us to get everything, the studio gets to have some content to put out and something to promote. Zack Snyder gets to get his vision out. There's a lot of precedence for it. Suicide Squad came out. It was seen. It made money. It was another moderate hit. It's done. He got his say. Yeah. He got his film. Whether or not he got the film that he 100% wanted without studio interference, no director gets that.
He could have quit.
Very few directors get that. I'm not even talking about quitting or not. It's just
no. But my point being is, I
know, but you're not letting me finish. It's normal procedure for studios to interfere with the final product that a director has handed in. This is why we have things that are called director's cuts.
Yeah.
So he wants his director's cut to come out. That's fine, but don't call it an Ayer cut because we already got the Ayer cut.
Yeah.
So it's BS.
Yeah. I'll tell you two things.
And I just don't care. I mean, I don't not care I don't think it's not news. But
this is the thing, though. Once
not a big deal.
Once you, and I don't mean you, and I don't mean the larger populace, you meaning the studios, once the studios break precedent and succumb to the fans' desires to unleash something that quote unquote, I use the air quotes, the fans want, because social media gives you the impression that is what the majority of fans want. At that point, I agree with you. Just release it at this point, because why wouldn't you at this point, right? What you're not going to have any. There's not a lot of extra money that needs to go into it. Although, unless this, in the case of the Snyder Cut, he's literally, I think, spending gobs of money now. But in theory, you're HBO Max. You need content. You've already set the precedent that, you know what, you can do these things and people might care about it, to the point where you get marketing and publicity around something that already exists. You're getting a second wave of potential money and dollars, which is the same thing, to release something that's already been created. You don't really have to go in there. You might have to pay for Ayer's time, but if he's the one complaining, tell him, hey, if you want to put the time in and make a cut, we'll release it on HBO Max. Like, what do they have to lose at this point?
Yeah, but I guess HBO Max wouldn't want to become the hub of the discarded movies. You know, it does want eventually fresh content.
Yeah,
it doesn't want it to start a precedent where if you're not happy with the way your movie was cut, bring it to HBO Max and we'll.
But they've already. That's it. They've already.
They've only done it one time, and like I said, there's a high precedence for it.
Yeah,
if they do it twice, it becomes a standard. If they do it once, it's a special event.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. The other thing I'm noticing too is this is just the way things go about these days. In my opinion, I feel that if you are, and this crosses all kinds of professions, right? If you're upset about something now, like if if we're in kindergarten, and he took my ball. You make a loud enough stink that the teacher's just going to give the ball.
Don't lose your balls.
Just get it done. Just get it. Just fine. Here's your ball. Can you share with them? Here you go. That's how people get things done these days, which I don't like. I don't appreciate it.
Everybody treats it like they're a whiny parent. That they're just a beleaguered parent.
No, not a beleaguered parent. Maybe everyone else around him, but the person itself is like a whiny kindergartner who basically.
Yeah, but I mean, and then they get their way because the beleaguered parent is just wants them to shut up.
Just
that was the analogy.
Just fine. So I'm not going to blame David Ayer for doing this. I don't like how it comes across. It's not how I would do it, but it seems to be the way, everyone does it these days if they're looking for some sort of change or impact. And so why not? Why not?
I guess the consensus is why not? Who cares? So. Mine is more who cares, but it comes out to the same result. Who cares? I'll watch it. So let's just do it.
You know what we do care about? Care about the Mandalorian. Season 2 premiered.
Do we care about the Mandalorian? Are we?
Well, we'll answer that question too. But it seemed okay. You out there seem to care about the Mandalorian because it's all the talk on social media, and it's, I guess, got ratings because who the heck even knows these days.
Bing,
but
bing, 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 bing.
that was a feck. That was a feck.
Nah, you used that. That was an F-bomb.
It was a bing plus a heck.
That was an F-bomb.
Created an heck. We're gonna talk Mandalorian. We're gonna give you our reaction to Chapter 9, which is the season 2 premiere, and we're gonna pit two of the two biggest bounty hunters, the two best bounty hunters against each other in our own non-election. See what I did there? Yeah, when we come back.
Welcome to Button Stash, the show about the best mustaches in gaming.
Casey, it's Button Smash. It's the new gaming podcast from the Rogue Matter Network. I don't know where you got mustaches from.
Well, I'm not shaving. But we will talk about gaming news, reviews, inside scoops, and retrospectives.
Join us live on twitch.tv/WeAreRogueMatter on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, or download our episodes wherever you listen to your podcast.
But please, Casey, shave.
Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. You can go to roguematter.com. You can check out our pods. You can check out Button Smash, which is our video game podcast. We've got some new pods coming. We've got a scripted series called Izzy that will be on its way to roguematter.com. All this stuff, it's tons of brand new digital content, and it's all free. Go check it out on the website. It's getting more and more. We just launched in October. We got our big launch coming in 2021 with a flood of new content. But get in the ground floor.
Boom.
Now.
Big bada boom.
Yeah, big bada boom. It's gonna be very exciting. You're gonna have Hassan artwork. You're gonna see Hassan artwork soon. Which I could show right now, but I'm not going to. You could see stuff from me as well.
And the boss appreciates that because that stuff's supposed to be under wraps until
I do whatever I want. I do what I want. Join the movement. Go rogue. Roguematter.com. All right. Mandalorian. Very highly anticipated from fandom, I would say, right? Star Wars fandom has anointed it the best thing that has ever happened to Star Wars since the original movies. Is that a fair opinion from the masses? No, because you stuck your little summary. You stuck your little anti-prequel, anti-sequel, bias in there. So no, I did not. No. This is
you
not
said
me.
it's the best thing to happen since the since the original movies.
I said that fandom.
I can't qualify that.
Fandom.
I can't qualify that. Like, show me a quote.
I'll go find somebody on Twitter. This is the best thing since
yeah, that's not fandom. That's one random.
Okay.
Douchebag.
How's this? I will summarize this: that The Mandalorian is the most beloved of the Disney Star Wars outlets.
It's up there,
right?
It's in good company with some of their better work. Yes.
Now,
very much so.
When did it come out? Like late Thursday, or was it early Friday? Like at exactly what time did it drop? Because I watched it Friday, but I know like they've been sneaking it on there, right?
Supposedly it dropped at 12 a.m. on Friday morning.
Yeah, that's
late Thursday evening, early Friday morning.
And Pacific or East Coast time?
I don't.
Because I'll cry foul if it's East Coast time, because I'm sleeping at that point.
Well, it came here. All I know, being on the East Coast, is that it dropped at 12 a.m.
Yeah, so it's
on
9
Thursday
p.m. Pacific
on Friday morning. I don't know.
Bastards getting it before us.
I doubt that.
Technically not, but technically I'd have to wait up. No, I'm not doing it.
You're on your own planet right now, so okay. I'll wait till you're done.
I'm saying that the West Coast people, if it dropped at 12 a.m.
Because we don't know that. You're talking about stuff we don't know. Just move on to what we know. Move on to what we know.
We know that there are some spoilers happening. If you haven't watched it, I don't know what's wrong with you. I think the spoiler, cutoff has lifted. The spoiler ban is lifted. But in case you haven't seen it, keep watching. But
usually a spoiler ban is 2 weeks. But I guess you're calling precedence. So
for a single episode.
What I'm told, man. That's internet etiquette.
Is it really?
Usually it's 2 weeks, but no. Okay. You can do a week. It's almost a week. It's not really a week. It hasn't even been a week.
Give or take. Well, for the purpose
of give or take. It's either a week or it's not a week. What's the matter with you?
I can't qualify that.
You and your binaries. It's always a binary with you.
I can't qualify that.
Can't qualify. It hasn't been a week. Okay.
If you haven't watched it yet and you haven't heard about it, put us on mute. Keep us running. But put us on mute or turn away. Because we're going to dive into some spoilers. Give me your reaction to the reveal at the end of the. Actually, wait. What do you think of the episode as a whole?
I thought it was a good episode. It's these things. I like that it was an hour. First of all, that was a plus for me.
It didn't feel like an hour though. To its credit,
I like that it was an hour.
Yeah.
Look, there's only one thing in the episode that I didn't really like, and that's such a nitpick that it's not even worth mentioning. It really isn't worth mentioning.
Now I need to know.
I thought Tim Oliphant looked terrible in Boba Fett's armor.
He did. I agree with you. He looked like bad.
I thought it looked horrible on him.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose because nobody should look like Boba Fett in his armor but Boba Fett.
Yes.
But he did not look great. And no one has looked good in the Boba Fett armor since Jeremy Bulloch, who actually played Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which was not his voice. And it doesn't matter now because in the new editions they've redubbed his voice with the Tamura, what's his name from the who played Django, and the clones, and now seems to be on par to depict Boba Fett himself.
Yeah.
So
wait. Here's the benefit of wearing glasses. I agree with you.
I'm sure there was a reason to stop a conversation for that. So anyway,
I meant to do it earlier, but I forgot. So if I didn't stop you now, like I was just gonna forget, and I had to. Had to. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. So yes, anyway, he looked horrible. He looked horrible in that armor.
Yeah, that's the only. But that's the, and that I didn't even not like that because being that he was not Boba Fett, it was fine. And also, Boba Fett's armor is very iconic, and it is an extremely enigmatic. You know, and it was the first of its kind. The first look. It was not. It's the first real life depiction. The first look at Boba Fett was in the holiday special,
right?
And the armor in the holiday special was slightly different. And then the next look at it was the Order Away toy that Kenner had before Empire Strikes Back even came out. So, the Empire Strikes Back is actually the third depiction of Boba Fett, but that is the most famous and that is the most iconic. And so. I dare say he would have maybe overshadowed Mandalorian if he showed up as looking, you know, fit as a fiddle in the old armor. So if he just looked a little bit awkward, that still keeps Mandalorian's appearance as, you know, as a prominent appearance in the show.
Piggybacking off of that, I remember thinking to myself as I'm watching the episode, how clever Jon Favreau and the writers and the producers are, because in my head I'm sitting there going like, oh, look at this. They're kind of not in a mean way, but in like in a fun spirited way. They're kind of giving S to the fans a little bit, being like, you want a Boba Fett? Here's Boba Fett. Timothy Olyphant dressed as Boba Fett. Like, you get him. You get his armor. You get it. Like, and even without the reveal at the end, in my mind, I was kind of like, I kind of laughed a little bit. I kind of was like, all right, good. They gave us Boba Fett. Like, no one could sit there and be like, you didn't give us Boba Fett. I want, or anybody who complains the Mandalorian's like fake Boba Fett. It's like, no, you got it. You got it in that sense. Now, obviously, you know, they end up giving you much more than that at the end. When the actor, who I'm not even going to try to butcher his name, does make an appearance at the end. And so, you know, something is going to be, you know, brewing. Obviously, he's going to be a major plot point for this season. As much as I enjoyed the little wink, you know, tongue-in-cheek wink and nod to Boba Fett throughout the episode, that ending made it even more satisfying of an episode, because you do get kind of like a wink and a nod to Boba Fett the whole time, and it's kind of like, oh, I kind of, you know, I kind of smirk and smile. But then you kind of get that ending, and you're like, oh, all right. So we get.
And it could be Boba Fett. Tamura Morrison is
Tamura Morrison, yes.
Tamura Morrison is his name.
So yes, and so that was one of my questions for you, and I want you to drop some of your exquisite Star Wars knowledge. You can take your glasses off and do this too while you do it. Do the old Giles from Buffy.
I don't ever take these off, so no.
But give us what you think is going to happen. And then also give us a little bit of background as to what happened pre-Disney canon, which could help give us a more educated guess.
You're going to hate this answer, because I think what I think is going to happen is nothing that we possibly could expect to happen is going to happen.
Okay.
All right. There's a possibility from anywhere that that Tamura shows up next week.
Yeah.
As Boba Fett to get his armor back from Mando, to he shows up next week as a clone.
Yeah.
You know, an ex-clone who just, you know, is just wandering around, to he doesn't show up until season 3. He doesn't show up again until
I'll predict that he does show up again in this season, but I know
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. You know,
I know
like
what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Like, look, because that was one of my predictions. Sure to go wrong is like, are we going to get a slow burn Boba Fett Mandalorian confrontation, or is it going to be like
maybe?
Said, like
but it might
episode?
be. We might get a confrontation next week. Is what I'm saying, because there's only like I think there's only 8 episodes,
right?
So they can't afford to take too long to get to the point. Now I don't know. I do not know if each episode this season is going to be 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, an hour, as opposed to the last season, which every episode was about 25 minutes.
Yep.
I do not know the format. I don't, and I did not do the research, so you could skewer me in the comments if you want to. I just didn't do it.
Well,
but okay, so if it is an hour per episode, that's 8 hours for them to get to the point, but that's still not a lot of time.
right.
Although if you see the hour, if you feel the hour, it didn't feel like an hour. I agree with you, but I knew it was an hour because they got a lot in on that first episode. There was a lot of set pieces. There were a lot of reestablished characters. There was a lot of, there was time to set up the town on the outskirts of Tatooine.
Yep.
There was time to set up Tim Oliphant, to tell Tim Oliphant's backstory, to tell where he got the armor, to tell what the consternation of the village was. This sandworm, this crate dragon that's been eating people. To explain that there's a lot of animosity, of course, between them and the Sand People, because the Sand People hate everybody. So I mean, probably with good reason, but I mean, the Sand People are not a pleasant. They're just not known as a pleasant group. And then there was a confrontation with the Crate Dragon at the end. So there's a lot established in that in that one episode that I watched. I had cycled through all the season 1 again just before this season. Actually not intentionally. I just watched one episode and then ended up watching the whole thing.
Yep.
And it went by really quickly, but they were all really good episodes. I still enjoyed them. And I actually, just to tell you the truth, I enjoyed The Mandalorian a lot more the second time around because I guess my expectations were not in the way, and I was able to accept it for what it was. I will tell you something that I find extremely fascinating.
Yeah.
How quickly you get used to that helmet, and then how easily you can tell emotions, that whatever emotions that Pedro Pascal is feeling through the fact that you've only seen his face once in the entire series. So, which
was a smart move, and we mentioned it last year too.
But I mean, you could think to yourself, how long can they keep that up? That they'll never take that. It's like Judge Dredd, but Judge Dredd's a comic book, and they couldn't do it in one of the 2 movies they made, right? Yeah. So you're thinking, how long can they keep that up? But obviously, it works, and you can even tell him apart from other Mandalorians.
Yes.
So. Yes. It's kind of a wonderful imagery. I did enjoy the first episode. They got a lot done. It's very promising for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and you keep mentioning that it was an hour long, but and they got a lot in, but it didn't feel like an hour. Like that was kind of that was the pleasant part about it. Again, kind of what we talked about last season as well too, is it was just pleasant on the eyes. Pleasant on the ears. It was just it's a pleasant experience.
Kind of faint praise though. It's kind of damning it with faint praise, but it's true.
Well, no, but that's and actually that leads into what I was saying though. Even better though, right? It's not meant to be fake praise, and it's not meant to be damning praise. It's not meant to be like a backhanded compliment. I think that in today's world, we're very impatient. We want things happening right away. It takes its time, right? I think that in today's world too, we've come to suspect the plot twist, right? Like at any point, I'm wondering when Timothy Olyphant is going to be like, "Oh, it turns out no one likes me here, and I'm the real villain," and that's a typical trope that now kind of happens, right?
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. He is a good-natured person who the townspeople respect. He's like Joe Montana in that Saturday Night Live sketch when he tells you everything he's actually thinking, and it's actually what he's thinking. Like,
it's actually what
that's a really nice sweater you have on. That's a really nice sweater you have. There's an innocence to this that unbelievably is so anti what we are used to now in the age of social media, and not a naivety, but an innocence that people are actually good-natured, that people are good-hearted, that there is no ulterior motive to things, and so it's a pleasant experience. The bad guys are bad. They don't hide it. There's no like, So
I will say again what I had said when we were doing this discussion last year for the first season. I think it's really good. I think I am more on board with it than I even was last year, and I wasn't on the fence, but I was I was cautiously.
I was with you.
cautiously optimistic with it, but hold on. I was cautiously optimistic with it, but I wasn't all in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way more in this time, but I will say this year they got to get to whatever point they're trying to make. Like they got to start setting up a broader narrative. I know the narrative is it's the lone wolf and cub motif,
right?
And it's also the nameless stranger kind of motif in a western town, and the guy rolls in, fixes a problem, and then leaves. Right? No problem with that. That's fine. It works perfectly with the Star Wars setting. But whatever overarching narrative that they're trying to set up for the the Mandalorian, I'm not saying that they got to get to the point now, but they got to start
set up what it is.
Yeah, they got to start sowing seeds as to where ultimately all of this may go. And I don't need them to rush it. I don't need them to get to the point. I'm not saying that. But I want them to expand the universe and broaden the possibilities of what they're going to do while it's an impossible ask. But I want them to broaden the whole thing while keeping it as narrow as possible.
Yeah.
And
I kind of agree and disagree at the same time with what you just said. I agree and disagree. And the only reason I disagree with you is because it kind of goes counter to what every other scripted show does these days, which is give you this massive like story that they're heading toward.
That's why I'm saying they don't have to hit you over the head with it.
No, I agree with.
I just want to know.
I know, but part of me is kind of like selfishly enjoying the fact that it is.
Yeah, man,
it is
I get
kind
you.
of like
but
old school TV.
This is a completely unexplored era in Star Wars. It's after Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens.
Right. But that's why so many people love it, I think, too, is the fact that
I know, Michael, but
it's like a tour, right? It's like a tour. Yeah. But I agree with you. It has to get more. There has to be deeper substance.
It has an opportunity. I'm not saying that it needs to. I'm saying it has an opportunity to kind of flesh out this unknown era, in the canon. And there's a 30-year gap. That they have an opportunity to set up a whole new story. And look, let's say, for the sake of argument, because this is not true. Okay, it's not true. It's an opinion. It's not true. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that the Star Wars sequels are no good. Like that, nobody really likes them. This is not the case. Millions of people like them. But let us say that Lucasfilm or Disney wants to
exercise
somewhat.
It. Excise it, not exercise it. Excise.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You moron. They want to redress it.
Yeah.
In some way. This is their opportunity to do that without actually erasing those movies whatsoever. And it's not fair to put that pressure on it. So I'm not saying this is what they should do. I'm saying they have an opportunity.
It's a possibility.
Yeah,
right. It's a possibility.
I'd like to see them venture,
or
probe the broader possibility, even if they never get to it.
Yeah,
as long as they hint it, and then another franchise, another property could broaden it. But I'd like them to start, because basically all he's doing is going from planet to planet, and mostly desert planet to desert planet. Okay, and that's not a problem.
In the desert.
I know that's not a problem, and the technology behind the show is fantastic. The Real Engine that they use for the LED, studio that they have, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this show whatsoever.
No,
I would just like to see them reach a little bit for a little more.
No, but that's why I say I agree and I disagree at the same time with you, because I agree 100% with what you said, and selfishly I disagree. Because I kind of like this show.
But it can't last like this.
Well,
people are going to lose interest.
That's exactly what I was going to say, though. This feels a little bit like Quantum Leap, which is one of my favorite all-time shows, where the premise itself and the exploring of the different people is akin to Mandalorian, kind of exploring all these different worlds, and it's enough to get you into it in the first 2 seasons, 3 seasons. But by season 4 or 5, you kind of know the routine already, and while every episode. Even if you rewatch Quantum Leap,
but the difference between Quantum Leap and Mandalorian is that Quantum Leap had the opportunity to do an utterly different set piece every week, like just absolutely, vastly. It was an entire series,
but even
of anthologies.
Even that got I don't want to say boring after a while, but you lose interest. You just lose interest in it because it's not going anywhere. So this is actually reinforcing your point and why I agree with it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't eventually go somewhere, people are just going to tire of it, no matter how well it's done. Quantum Leap there was never really a bad episode, and it was always of high quality. But even by season 4 or 5, you're kind of like, all right, I've kind of seen this already, and I'm kind of bored by this.
I want to stress that you and I both are not saying that the show is in any way getting boring, or it will be boring anytime soon. All we're saying, we're not asking for more. We're not saying that it's, that it's not a good show. Right. It's not enjoyable. What I'm saying, and in slight contrast to what you're saying, is I would like them to reach. I would like them to kind of build a little more, so that there's more to build on for other shows and stuff in the future. And what you're saying is you want them to keep it light and entertaining. And
part of me wants that.
Yeah,
part of me wants
that.
So,
and I want that too.
It's such a contrast to what's out there right now. And that's and there's a bit of charm to that. And that's something that, I feel like we don't get, like it's like Walking Dead syndrome or any new show that comes out, like, what was that show on NBC, Manifest? It's like, it's like the Lost syndrome. You have these, like, you ask this question, and then the rest of the show for however many seasons is about answering that question. And this is not about that. This is just so straightforward that in a way it's what old school TV was, but it's not what we get now. So I do kind of like, I enjoy it. All right. I think we're on the same page with what we're saying. And I think the masses, I'd love to hear what everyone else has to say. Chime in on the Facebook feed. Again, if you're listening to us as a podcast, you can still go to facebook.com/Rogue Matter Podcasts, and you can still chime in. The feed will be up all week. We'll answer back. I want to ask you real quick before we go to break.
Yeah.
This is obviously our non-election here.
Who
was the better bounty hunter? Now that spoilers, but again, if you just listen to our entire segment, or if you're just joining us, spoilers. How's that? Right? I don't know how you just joined a podcast, but if you're on the live stream, you could be just joining us. So there's spoilers.
You're wasting time.
I'm not wasting time.
You said real quick. You want to go real quick, and then you took a whole full 5 minutes for your dumb anecdote.
It's just not a dumb anecdote. I said real quick, but I'm making sure that people are not, like, if they're joining us on the live stream.
People understand if you're just joining us what it means. You do not need a qualifier. Just get to the question. For God's sake,
now
man.
You've deflated my question the entire time.
Okay. Good. I didn't want to answer the question.
Now that
anyway.
Boba Fett is back, I'm still going to do it because I'm stubborn like that. Now that Boba Fett is back, who is the better bounty hunter? And by better, I mean, who's the more successful bounty hunter? We've had a whole season of Mandalorian. We've had 3 movies with Boba Fett, if you count Lucas's reimagining special edition where he appears in episode 4. Who's the more successful bounty hunter? Is it Boba Fett? I mean, I guess we also have the prequels too. We can lean on because it's essentially the same character, even though it's Jango Fett.
Jango Fett, Boba Fett, and now you're saying Mandalorian.
Yeah. Who's the better bounty hunter of the 3?
The better bounty hunter?
Yeah.
4 LOM.
What's that?
4 LOM.
What does that mean?
He's one of the boundy hunters. 4 LOM. That's the best bounty hunter.
No. But I'm saying we're talking
Raylan
Boba
Givens
Fett versus Boba Fett versus Mandalorian.
Boba Fett versus whom? Who were the
Mandalorian versus Boba Fett. Mandalorian had one job, which was to kill or to hand over the baby, and he ended up reneging on that, and now he's been going around. But
it wasn't one job. He had an entire cargo hold full of people frozen in carbonite that he was going to deliver. True. And he delivered them all to Grieve Karga at the beginning of episode 1 or episode 2.
Good point. Okay.
So I mean, he's no slouch when it comes to doing the bounty hunter job.
Yeah. Boba Fett was successful in tracking Han Solo, but essentially did not actually capture Han Solo. He left it to the Empire to capture Han Solo.
Well, he tracked Han Solo so the Empire could catch him.
Agreed. No, there's points there.
Wouldn't have caught Han Solo at all.
I agree. No, there's absolutely points there, and I know he was under special instructions by the Empire, so it's not as if it's not as if it was a typical bounty, and he definitely out-bountied the rest of those bounty hunters that were on the ship in Empire because he was able to track Han Solo, whereas they couldn't. But then he ended up getting, knocked into the Sarlacc pit. Very unceremoniously.
Yeah, but after he collected on his bounty. So,
That's
I mean,
true. That's a good point.
That's got nothing to do with his
Good
bounty
point.
hunter skills.
No, I think that's valid.
Quite a few people got knocked into the Sarlacc that day. So, I mean, he's in good company. And
true.
Apparently he got out. So,
This
it's all
is true.
good.
So who
I'll say Boba Fett. I don't care. It's Boba Fett if you want. I mean, we don't know. I mean, The Mandalorian is just starting. It's not a fair question. Boba Fett is 40 years old, So
no, I know,
it's
but we've only if you only count the canon of Disney.
But it doesn't matter. There's a long enough time for us to have built up who Boba Fett is in our own hearts and minds. He's got a lot of, enigma. He's got a lot of an enigmatic presence. He is an enigma. Okay, so it's not a fair comparison to a guy who's 2 years old, theoretically, and who is just at the beginning of his particular story.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've seen more wins though from Mandalorian. We've only been able to see one win from Boba Fett, and then he just basically hangs out at Jabba's place the whole time. Jabba's place seems like a lot of fun. I would love to hang out there.
Boba Fett was invited personally by Darth Vader to come to the Executor Star Destroyer to catch the most important thing that Darth Vader wanted so that he could capture his son. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't get on that list, and that short list, if you suck at your job. So you can't say, oh, we've only seen, because basically you've only seen anyone in your entire life doing the job that one time you've seen them. Every bus driver you've ever been in a bus, that's not the first time he's driven a bus. Okay? So that's not a fair enough comparison. Now, if you get on that bus, the bus driver crashes 3 times in the 15 minutes you're on that bus, probably he's a shitty bus driver. Bing, Bing. Right? But
3, just one.
No, anything can happen once, right?
So
but I mean, the law of averages.
One is occurrence, 2 is a pattern.
If you do it, exactly. If you do it 3 times, you are an F up, right?
There will be no electoral tie. I will agree with you. I think Boba Fett is the better bounty hunter. What do you guys think? Do you think I had to tie it? I mean, come on, I have to tie it to this time period that we're living in that I'm not going to mention because you can't come up with a synonym for it. What do you guys think? Who's the better bounty hunter?
Head trip, dude.
Who is more successful? Chime in on the Facebook feed. Let us know. When we come back, our Rogue Report, we are welcoming Sebastian Sanchez from Rogue Matter. This guy, pre-COVID, was living the life, man, traveling the world as an artist. I mean, I don't think there's anything better. So we'll hear his story. We'll learn a little bit about Key to the City when we come back. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. Now, normally we do our Spin the Rack segment, but, being part of Rogue Matter, we're trying to introduce all new segments. And one of those is a Rogue Report where we get to interview or talk about some of the cool stuff that's going on roguematter.com. And we were fortunate enough to interview Sebastian Sanchez, who lives half a world away. So enjoy this previously recorded segment. You will know this because I am not wearing glasses and do not have a beard as full as this, which is my election beard. And Hassan, you're from like the neck down, so you probably they wouldn't
I had
tell,
my beard.
But
I did have my beard.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so
true.
they'll know.
Yeah,
they'll know.
Yeah. But enjoy Sebastian Sanchez talking Key to the City. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast, the frequency for all things pop culture and the disruptors behind it. As we kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are part of a much larger network now. It's the Rogue Matter Podcasting Network. It's something we've been really excited to talk to you guys about for many, many weeks. But obviously, life gets in the way and certain things happen. But we can now openly talk about it. And as part of this incredible network that we're part of and this incredible community that we're part of now, We want to introduce our guest today, Sebastian Sanchez. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
And you are one of our rogue artists. You worked on a book called Key to the City. It's not even a book. It's a series. It's a love letter to New York City. You provided some awesome artwork. I actually have one of the stories that's in there as well, too. It was written by me. So it's pretty, it was pretty cool to see your imagery of Key to the City kind of come to life, especially, having contributed to the book. Talk to us about working on that series and what you brought from an artistic point of view into doing the cover work.
Well, I was contacted by you guys, and I do usually freelance work. So every project is kind of like you don't really know what you're gonna get until you start working on it. So I got some nice descriptions of all the characters that were involved in the story, which was really nice. And well, just basically looking for some references online and trying to figure out what was the best style to use for you guys. It was quite an interesting and different thing to do. It was not what I was usually. I do more illustrations and maybe not so realistic approach, but it was super fun to work on it.
Yeah. Key to the City, for anybody, you can go to roguematter.com and check out Key to the City. It's basically a love letter to New York City with a little quantum leap twist to it. There, Andy is our main character, and he jumps from body to body for no reason. He does not know why, but he's got 24 hours in order to make a difference in the lives that he interacts with. And it's only in New York City, and it only takes place in New York City. My particular story was about an old man. He leaps into the body of an old man who had just had a seizure, and he has to figure out why he's there and what he's doing. And again, Sebastian illustrated a lot of the artwork for it, which was cool. It's a short story, which is also kind of cool. I like working in that short story kind of vein. Talk to us about the realistic approach. You said that's not typically what you do. Was it something that the story kind of demanded?
Well, yes, but I was talking to Mandy, who was just giving me all the directions. And what we finally decided to do was to find some different pictures online, and it was with Photoshop and other tools, just making them follow the guidelines that she gave me. So it was first a whole like mashup of different pictures, and then through some filters, the artwork got created. I usually do more like detail illustrations, pencil art illustrations, but for this realistic approach, I think that was the way to go.
Talk to us about your journey as an artist. How did it start? At what point were you like, no, I want to be an artist for a living?
Well, it kind of happened by itself. I always wanted to have my own manage of time, and I started doing some artwork. I got my first digital tablet like 8 years ago, and just got to know the world of freelancing online through some different sites that have platforms that get you in contact with clients all around the world. So in order to have my own time and be my own boss, let's say, I started doing that, and it worked out at my surprise. And that just, my artistic style has been quite shaped by all the jobs that I've been having throughout the years. So it's still quite a search. I have a lot of different things.
Yeah, Mandy, who you had mentioned, Mandy Jacobs is the editorial editor or the creative director. I forget what her title is, but she's pretty much in charge of everything. Editor-in-chief. I knew it was something. She's listening to this and she's going to hate me for that. But anyway, she mentioned like your life is basically traveling from place to place, and you just basically bring your drawing. I guess she said you do tablet drawing, and you just basically travel the world and make a living drawing at each stop. Is that a fair representation of your life?
Yeah, it is. At least the last 3 years,
Yeah.
I realized that traveling in summer is easier because of climate. So it's easier, lighter, and it's nice. And I like the sports which come with that. So yes, I've been moving around and also going to hostels and offering maybe do mural artwork or helping them with their social media, I don't know, illustrations or for posters or whatever. And that helps me exchange that for accommodation. So that makes it easier to choose where to go, just where I can do some work in exchange of that. There's no money involved, which is nice, just to give something and then get something in return. And then for the rest, I have my notebook, my tablet, and just go to coffee shop or somewhere, work for a bit. I mean, I keep it like economical travel, but it allows me to know a lot of places and people, and that's what fuels the creativity, which is nice.
Wow. So obviously, pre-coronavirus, pre-COVID-19, you were traveling.
Yes, everything.
And now we're all kind of grounded for a little while. But before all this, before the pandemic, what were the last 3 stops on your travel itinerary? Where did you travel to?
I was a lot I stayed a while in Sagres, in Portugal, in the south. It's the most southern western part of Europe, which is a lovely place. Really, it's not so known yet, so a lot of hidden places. And after that, I lived in Berlin for a while. And the previous year, I was also. I mean, I move around quite a lot around Europe. I don't know. It kind of mixes all together, but yeah, I've been moving around quite a lot. And also coming every summer, I come to my hometown in Argentina, which is in here where I'm now. I got luckily stuck here, which is a beautiful place called Bariloche in Patagonia region, just next to the mountains and lakes and natural places that I like.
That's awesome. Last question: what is the most inspirational place that you've been to that inspires your work?
I would have said this one actually. Every time I come back to my hometown, it's just I see it with different eyes after everything I see outside of it, and I just love it more and more because of how big it is, how far away from everything it is. It is known worldwide by adventurers and people that like hiking, and it's just, I don't know, I find that like in Europe you go up a mountain and you always see a town on the other side. And here you can really get lost. It's nice.
Where can people find you online?
They can find me at Chess, as Sanchez, but SCHEZ, Chess Art in Instagram. And yep, that's basically it.
That's fantastic. Sebastian, again, beautiful work. Love the stuff on Key to the City. I was really excited to be a part of that, and it's really excited to meet you virtually face to face. And I hope you can be doing more traveling next year.
I hope to. I'm sure that everything will come to normality in a few months or years. But well, let's be patient, and thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Go to Rogue Matter. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. I want to thank Sebastian Sanchez for taking some time out to talk to us about his amazing life, where he basically just jumps across the globe. Thank Rogue Matter for making this all happen. And you can check out Key to the City, episode 2 or chapter 2, Charlie, written by yours truly, is now available on the website. I'll post the link in the Facebook feed, or you can go to roguematter.com and go check out Key to the City in the library, and you can download it. It's all free. Just read it, enjoy it, or don't enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Next week, we'll dive into chapter 10.
Next week, we're going to do something else.
Of Mandalorian. No, we have something specific now. I have got a next week outro.
Yeah, we got stuff to do. We got things to do,
which is really exciting. And we'll come up with new angles that will piss us off. You, the general public, though, I know you love it. So we will see you next week.
Rogue Wave.